guys can go back if you have any questions on it. All right. So, as of last class, we determined ways to find the roots of quadratics. We also talked about the types of functions, the types of roots of the functions. So, for the example today, let's take a look at starting at 5x squared minus 8x plus 2. If we were given this function and we were asked to find the roots of it, we could right away go right to our quadratic formula. To tell the types of roots, though, we can discuss what delta is, as you did on your quiz today. Again, your quiz today was just to see what are the types of roots. It didn't say find the roots, and if you did a lot more work than you had to. This was like a 30-second assessment today. You literally had to do b squared minus 4ac. That was all you had to do. And then based on that number, determine the types of roots from that table from last class. So b squared minus 4ac would be negative 8 squared minus 4 times a times c. So delta is going to be 64. What is 4 by 5 by 2?
40.
40. 20 by 2 is 40. Very good. So here, we're going to see that in this example, delta is 24. Now, remember from last class, if the value of delta is positive, our roots are real, distinct, and they can either be irrational or they can be rational. What was the distinguishing factor that told us between irrational roots versus rational roots?
The perfect square.
Very good. The number under the radical, if it's a perfect square or not. Is 24 a perfect square?
No.
It is not. 25 is, right?
Yeah.
And 16 is, but 24 is not. So since this is not a perfect square, the roots will be real, they will be distinct, meaning different, and they will be irrational. Again, we have three words that will describe our roots here. Real, distinct, and irrational. Now, I don't want to go any further than that on this problem. It says, just find the types of roots. Now, on tonight's homework and on the homework over the weekend, you guys saw I asked you also to actually find the roots after to check that this was correct. So based on this description, now let's actually find the roots and see if we're actually correct about that. So if we continue down and use our quadratic formula. If we actually plug into our quadratic formula here, we're going to see that the roots are real, they are distinct, and they are irrational. Let's go through that example. So we're looking at a is 5, b is negative 8, and c is 2. So negative 8 plus or minus the square root. Now, do I have to actually put all those numbers into the radical again?
No, you already did them.
What is it?
24.
Good. Again, we already did b squared minus 4ac in the part above, and it was 24. So don't do it again, just put a 24 there. And I didn't expect you to do it twice in your homework, just put the 24 in there. Again, because a minute ago, we figured out the value of delta, and delta was 24. So if I just put a 24 in here now, that's what this comes out to be if you do the math. Again, you'll get 64 minus 20. 64 minus off that 20 gives us, minus off the 40 gives us the 24 here. Well, let's take a look at our roots here. We're going to end up with a negative 8 is positive 8, plus or minus the square root of 24 all over 10. Can we take the square root of 24?
No.
Can we get a whole number answer from it?
No.
We can't. Thus, it is irrational. Remember, the square root of 24 is not a rational number. Again, the square root of 24 is not a rational number. So when I have my two answers here, one of them will be 8 plus root 24 over 10. And the other one will be 8 minus root 24 all over 10. Again, one is going to be 8 plus root 24 over 10. One will be 8 minus root 24 over 10. Now, I want to know what those values are as decimals. So I have to actually figure them out. So for these two values here, I have to go on my calculator, type in 8 plus the square root of 24, hit enter, then divide by 10. Again, make sure you do your numerator first, and then divide that answer by 10. The square root of 24 is probably 4.9. This will give us 12.9 over 10. Should be around 0.129. That's my guesstimate. This is again around 4.9 here. 8 minus 4.9 is 7.1 over 10. Should be around 0.71. These are rounds, so just check that I'm correct here, but make sure you have an idea of how you're going to do this. Again, when I give you guys problems to do, make sure you do them in your calculator. Manual.
We got an 8.4.
You got what?
8.4.
For which one? Top?
This should be 1.29, but not 8.4.
You did it wrong.
But the one at the top, I think,
You did 8.
1.28.
By 10.
What's after the 8?
You did it.
a 9, so it's
Again, numerator first, hit enter, then divide by 10.
That's why I couldn't get it on my calculator. I was saying do it.
Remember guys, PEMDAS, you have to do the numerator first, get a number, and then divide it by 10. Or do it all in the same line and put parentheses around here. You can do that also. Again, remember. What is the second one? Is 7.1 correct here? 8 minus root 24, enter, divide by 10. And I'm rounding.
0.31.
0.12 for version.
Wait, sorry, this one here is 0.3?
Yeah, 0.31.
Oh, duh, because I did 12 minus that. I did 12 minus for some reason. I don't know what I'm thinking. Thank you. 0.311?
Yeah.
Okay. And the first one we agree, 1.29?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we just went through all these steps here, guys. We found the discriminant to talk about the types of roots, and then later on, we actually found the roots. What we're going to do today is write a program that does all this for us in one step. You literally enter A, enter B, enter C, the values of A, B, and C, hit enter, it'll give you the roots automatically.
Can we use that on the
Okay?
test?
I encourage you to use it, absolutely. Okay, but again, if a problem says, discuss the types of roots, that's this part right here. You need to actually figure out the discriminant to discuss the types of roots. Again, to find out how to discuss the types of roots, you need to know what the discriminant's value is, and then we can talk about the types of roots. So that's a different kind of problem. If it says just find the roots, or if you're graphing and you need to know what the roots are, then I encourage you to use your quadratic formula program on your calculator. What we're going to do today is go through that process. So everybody turn your calculator on, please. Again, if you don't have one your own, make sure you're looking out with somebody, at least for now. But I highly recommend that you get one, as I always have this year. So, if you don't have one, look on with somebody. Find someone to look on with. Kelly looks like she's sitting by herself. She would love to have her company back there.
No, I put my paper in that.
Slide it down. Slide it down. Okay. I'm telling you guys this right now. If you don't keep up with the keystrokes and what I'm doing here, you're going to fall behind and I'm not going to stop. I'm telling you now. Okay, so please listen carefully. Listen carefully. First, if you're on the home screen, there should be nothing there. If there is, just press clear. Clear whatever's in your home screen. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to enter a program. Thus, we should go to the word program. And program is right next to apps. I'm pointing to it right now. So you see the apps button. To the right of that, you hit program. Now, yours probably has nothing in there, and it shouldn't have anything in there because they come with no programs preloaded. Mine has stuff in here that I've already started. In last year, if you had me for geometry, I did a law of cosines one into programming. We're going to do this toward the end of the year this year. This I've done 3 times now, the same thing. These are all the quadratic formulas. I've just called them different things every time. So what I want you guys to do is, first of all, take a look. EXEC, that means execute or run the program, to actually use it. Well, you can't run anything because there's nothing actually in there. Next, edit. If you go over to edit, it'll only show programs that you have, and you could edit whatever exists already. Well, if there's nothing existing there, you can't edit anything. So by default, you have to go over to new. And you want to create a new program. So everybody hit enter. We're going to go very slowly through this process. We're pointing out a lot of different things. First, notice the flashing ticker here is no longer just flashing. There's an A in it. What does that A mean when it's flashing?
It's
It's on the letters, very good, or the alphabet. It's called alpha lock. So if you look on your keypad now, see all the letters on mine that are in green here? You'll see if you look closely, there's an H, a G, an F, E, D, A, B, C. See all the letters on your keypads? Those are the letters that refer to alpha lock. So if you want to call this program quadratic formula, you can't have a space, but you could write like quad form, or you could write QF, or you could write X intercepts, or you could write roots. Give it any name you would like, whatever makes sense. Again, what we're doing is a quadratic formula. So you might want to just call it something like Q, U, A, D, and then form, F-O-R-M. Where's F-O-R-M? F-O-R-M. You might want to call it quadratic formula. And you'll notice that you can only enter 8 letters to name any program. It becomes, see the ticker now? You can't type anymore. Again, anytime you enter a name of a program, it can only be 8 letters long. You can't, it's the default on the calculator, the way it's set up. So again, the title of the programs can be 8 letters. You cannot have dots in there and other symbols in the name. It's got to be letters. So is that okay? Can I call it quad form? You guys can call it whatever you want, again. But think about something that will remember what you actually are doing here. Don't call it like, I don't know, give me a random word. Don't call it cookies, maybe, because cookies might not tell you that, you're looking at the quadratic formula. Call it something that makes sense. So I called it quadratic form, hit enter. Again, once you've given the name, just press enter. It'll go to the next line. Now, what we're going to do is actually enter the program into the calculator. And there are a few steps to do so. I have a handout that outlines all this, but I want to go through it together, and then I'll give you the handout at the end, in case there's any confusion. But we're going to go through this together one step at a time. Now, notice, look at my flashing tick mark now. Is there an A in it anymore? So, currently, we are not using that alpha lock. So right now, we do not have letters on. So if I were to try and type in the letters, what am I going to see? What are all these? All the numbers show up. I don't want that, okay? So I want to turn on my letters. To turn on your letters, either you can press alpha. Now watch what happens. If I press alpha, and then I type the letter A, it only lasts for 1 letter. After that, it's going to go back to numbers. How do I get it so that it's always going to be letters?
Second alpha.
Good. See alpha lock or A lock? Press second, then press alpha. And now it will be letters for this entire line of code. Okay, until I press enter to get to the next line when it resets. So now I'm in all letters at this point. What I want to do is the following. I want to give the person a message when they run the program. I want to write a message. So I want to write like a hello. So you can write, hello, this is the program that solves the quadratic formula. And whenever you run it, it'll display that on the calculator. I don't want to write all that, but I might want to write something that reminds me that I'm using the quadratic formula. So to do so, here's what I'm going to do. And the next few commands are a little bit confusing, but stay with me. If I want to display something, I need to use what's called the display command. All of your commands are located in the catalog. The catalog, you can see, is down here. Above the number 0, you see the word catalog. And it's under your second command. So press second, and then press the 0 button, and you'll see a catalog come up. Again, press second, and then press 0. If you're working with a partner, it's good to switch on and off, like I saw Juan and Mariana just doing. Thank you. So switch off so you both get practice. So second, and then press the catalog button. So now the catalog comes up. I want to bring up what's called the display command. Display starts with a D. So I can simply jump to the D by pressing D. And D is right here on x to the negative 1. See the D above it? So if I press x to the negative 1, it brings up the D line. So it'll automatically go to D. Now, I want display, which is D-I-S-P, but it's not listed here. So I got to scroll down a little bit. So start scrolling down. Until I get, oh wait, take a look, there's 2 displays. I don't want to display a graph, I just want to display a message. So I'm just going to put D-I-S-P. Again, how did I do all this? It was second, catalog, then I press the D to jump to the letter D in the alphabet, and then I go to display, and I hit enter. Now, what I want to do here is display a message. The message can say anything. I'm going to write a certain message a certain way. If you want to make it look a little different, you can. But here's what I'm going to write. Before I display a message, if I want it to be just text and I don't want to use it in my program, I need to put parentheses around it. I'm sorry, not parentheses. Wow, wrong word. I need to use quotations. In any sort of computer programming, a lot of different things have quotations. And quotations mean that I'm entering a message or I'm writing some sort of a hint or an outline to the person what the program is all about. So if you look at the plus sign, you see the little quotations above the plus sign? Press, it's on alpha already. It should be on alpha lock already from before. So press the quotations, and you'll see a little quotation pop up. Again, I'm pressing the plus sign. If that didn't work, if you actually got a plus sign, go back and delete it. Don't hit clear. Again, clear. If you press clear at any point in time, it will clear out this entire line. If you go back and you say you press the plus sign by accident, you didn't have the alpha lock on, a plus sign appeared. Go back and hit delete, and it'll delete that. Then go back, turn your alpha lock on, and now use your quotations. So at this point, you should have display from the catalog, and then the quotation. Are we all on the same page right now?
Yeah.
Yes? We're all at the same point? Okay. If you're not, please tell me so we can fix it. So display, and then we have a quotation. Now, what I want to display is the standard form for quadratics. And as you guys know, standard form for a quadratic is simply ax squared plus bx plus c. But since we're finding the roots, we always set this equal to 0. Instead of y equals, we put a 0 equals. So this is what I want inside of the quotes. That's what I want the program to display in the beginning. You can really make it display anything you want, but I'm showing this so that it reminds the person, okay, I'm using a quadratic formula that's in standard form. It's just a quick reminder. So, back to here. I want ax squared. So, I can turn alpha lock on while it's still on. So, I've got a, then I look for my x, there's x. But I want to type squared now. How do I type squared? There's a squared button, yes, but if I type squared, it's going to bring the letter I up.
Or you can take out the alpha, or you can do carry to 2.
Okay, I could do carry 2, or I could just simply go back and turn off the alpha lock and then hit the square button. Again, right now it's on alpha lock, which means letters. Which means letters. If the alpha lock was not on, it would not display the letters. Okay, again, alpha lock was on, so it was only displaying letters. But I want the square command to happen, so I turn the alpha lock off. The way to turn the alpha lock off is the same way as you turn it on, really. You just press the alpha key. That triggers back and forth between alpha and not alpha. Now, I next want, okay, if at any point in time you press the wrong key by any chance, like Nawana's window got hit. The button window got hit. So, the easiest thing to do, let me show you so you all can see this. I want you to follow me now, Nawana. If by accident I had pressed window, and you're like, oh no, I don't know what to do, I lost the program. All you gotta do is the following. Press second, quit, to go back to the home page. Okay, second, and then the mode button. Then press program, go over to edit, and then go to the program that you want. And it'll bring the program back up to wherever you were. Okay? So if by accident you press like window or something else, okay, it actually, you can go back to quit, go back to the home page, go to program, go to edit. And you,
This is actually handy.
it's very handy.
If you don't touch it for a while, is it gonna go away?
The calculator might shut off, just turn it back on and go back to your program.
Alright.
Again, whenever you want to go back into a program, you're going to go under program and then you're going to go to edit. And you're going to edit the program. Okay? You're going to edit the program. So we have ax squared. Next I want to have plus. What do I want next in the equation? What else do we have here? Plus bx. Well, how do I do bx? I got to turn alpha lock on, press B, and then press x. Now I want a plus sign again. What do I have to do?
Take out alpha.
Good. Take it off alpha. Turn alpha off. Plus
Does it matter which X you use?
C. It doesn't matter. There's an X up here. There's an X down here. For this, it doesn't matter right now. Now, look up when you're ready so I know we're all at the same point. Again, I want to see ax squared plus bx plus c. Stop there for a sec because the equal sign is a little bit tricky to get out. Okay, at this point in time, I want an equal sign here. To bring up an equal sign, you go to, see this math key? Above math, you see test. Press second, and then press math. That's where all of your inequality and equality symbols are. Equal to, not equal to, greater than or equal to, less than equal to. I want the equal sign, so press enter. And then press the number 0 and end with quotations. Again, how did I get the equal sign? I press second and then I press math.
You just enter.
And then we'll see an equal sign, hit enter. Again, after the 0, you want to close your quotations. So again, you're going to press at the end, alpha, and then the quotation symbol, which is the plus key. Good, bad, what's going on? Guys, if your settings are too light, press second up, second up, second up, second up, go like this, right? Or second down, it's dimmer. You can always adjust the brightness, if you guys can barely see it, right? You can always adjust the brightness. Go over to edit, quad form.
Count each of those.
Now, close your quotes. Close your quotes, guys. Okay, next. Before we go any further, let's analyze what we've done. This is literally a display message. That's all it's done so far. So you don't have to do this, but if you were to run this program right now, and we're doing quad form, if I were to run quad form and hit enter, it would just display a message. That's all it's doing. Okay, so this program is not even close to done. All we've done is display whatever was in the quotations. And clearly we can see this is what was in the quotations that we put in there. So it's just displaying a message. We want the computer to actually do some work. So let's go back to our program, go over to edit, I go down to quad form, I want to continue editing. Now, once I finish the quotation, I can hit enter to go to the next line. So hit enter after your quotations and it'll bring you to the next line. Now, after this point in time, what I want to start doing is actually defining the quotation, defining the program. To do so, I have to remember there are 3 things that I need to enter as a user. I need to enter A, B, and C. There's no way for the calculator to know what the problem is about. You have to actually give it values. So I want the computer, or the calculator computer, to ask me, what is A, what is B, what is C, and we can do that. Okay, so the next line of code is going to be so that the calculator asks you, tell me A, tell me B, tell me C, and then let me do the work. So the way that works is the following. Press second catalog, open up your catalog, and now go down to the letter P. So hit the P on the keyboard, which is the number 8. 8 will jump you to P. Now go down further and look for the word prompt. P-R-O-M-P-T. Okay?
Prompt.
Prompt.
Poison. They had 2 of them.
Just go, no, there's only one actually. Just prompt, P-R-O-M-P-T. Once you get to this, hit enter, please. Okay? We all have this on the screen now. Prompt means this. Tell me. Prompting is tell me. So for example, if I said to you guys, the quadratic formula is x equals, and then you would answer. I'm prompting you. I'm asking you something, right? So to prompt someone is to give them like a clue, or tell me something about this. So if you type prompt, and then you put the variable a, b, and c, it tells the calculator to ask you about a, b, and c. So now what I want you to do is press the following. Alpha A. Okay, press alpha A. What this is doing is saying, the calculator will ask me what the value of A is now. That's what this does. Now I want A, B, and C. For this one, you can use the comma. The comma is right here next to the parentheses. Again, the comma is next to the parentheses. Then put a B, alpha B, then a comma, alpha C. Notice I'm not using alpha lock because I'm not entering a bunch of letters at the same time. So alpha lock is pointless. I'm only entering one letter, then I'm using a comma. Then another letter, then a comma. then another letter. Okay? So you should have A, comma, B, comma, C. Okay, no big deal. So if you do that, you press second, quit to get out. Go back to your program, go over to edit, and enter, and bring up to where you want to. So you need to see that. Okay, once you've done that, hit enter one more time. We still have not written the program. Okay? The comment is you gotta see our alpha.
Boy, my hair. Oh
So again, we have not actually done any of the program itself. We've just done some of the inputs. So if we were to run this program right now, let's run it again the same way. If I were to run the program again, take a look at what it does now. Instead of stopping after the display, what does it now say?
I'm asking you what A is.
What A is. It's exactly what it's doing. It's saying, what is A? So in this case, A was 5. So if I hit 5, enter, then it says, what is B? B is -8. -8, enter. And then it says, what is C? Well, C is 2. But you know what? It doesn't do anything with that, right? Because we didn't write the program yet. You can give the calculator values of A, B, and C, but it can't do anything with it yet because you got to finish the program still. Again, what we've done with the prompt is just literally say, what is A, what is B, what is C? So now I go back to my program, I'm going to edit it again. Okay, I leave off here. Now, at this point in time, I want to do the following. I want to write the actual quadratic formula into the program. X equals -b, the whole thing, okay? But I don't want to write out everything both times. I want to make it a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to define b squared minus 4ac as a variable, or as another quantity. Remember, we discussed in class that delta was b squared minus 4ac. Again, that was the value of delta. So in the calculator, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to store this quantity as another variable. I'm going to store it as the variable d for discriminants, just so I have an idea of what I'm saying. So I'm going to store this, and let's go through this process now. To store something, you simply type in what you want. So press alpha b squared minus 4ac. The squared, again, is right here. The x squared symbol on the left, to the left of the comma. Okay? So type in b squared minus 4ac. Again, how do you get b squared? Alpha, then the b, then the square key, minus over here this time, not negative, but minus 4 alpha a, alpha c. Now I want to store this as a variable d. Where is the store function on the calculator? It's on there somewhere.
You said where's the
Oh, you
what?
mean the
Store. Where is there a function that says store on there anywhere?
on the top.
It's overlooked usually. What is it?
STO.
There it is, STO. On the bottom left, look at the bottom left, guys. Above the on button. You see STO with an arrow? It stores a value in another variable. And I want to store this as D. Okay, again, I want to store that as D. So I'm telling the calculator right now, press the wrong button, press matrix.
Oh.
Get out of here. Back to program, go over. So again, we are defining D as the discriminant, so D is just b squared minus 4ac. Now, is everybody at this line?
Yes, sir.
We're good so far?
Yeah.
Okay. On the next line, here's what I want to do. On the next line, I actually want to write out the quadratic formula. But instead of writing b squared minus 4ac, what can I call this under here now?
D.
I can just call it d. Again, remember, we defined b squared minus 4ac as d. So instead of writing negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, just call that a d now, all over 2a. But I want to actually figure out this value. Here's how we do it. Go into your calculator, and I want the calculator to show me the answers at the end. So I want the calculator to display the answers. So we need the display command again. second, catalog. Press the X to the -1 to bring up the D, to go to display. So jump to D. Again, press that button to jump into D. Go down to display. Hit enter on display. Now, I want this to display the actual answer. Well, the answer is just this right here. That is the answer. But I can't do a plus or minus. So I got to display it with the plus the first time, and then display it again with a minus. So now I go to, I have the display up. I want to display the numerator divided by the denominator. So I need parentheses around my numerator. So start with parentheses. Press the negative key down here. Then press the B. So alpha B. So negative B plus the square root. Where's the square root key on here?
X
But you got to press what first?
second.
So second, and then press the x squared to bring up a square root. What am I taking the square root of? Good. D, or b squared minus 4ac, or D. So alpha D, close the square root, close the numerator. Again, close the square root, close the numerator. All over what? All over? 2a. Very good, Leslie. 2a. Now, if I don't put the 2a in parentheses, I'm going to have a problem, because now it's dividing by 2 and then multiplying by a. So I got to make sure when I do my denominator, I have parentheses 2a. Again, your denominator must have parentheses around it. Programs. Go over. Again, you have got to have parentheses around the right stuff here, or else it will not work. Continuing. Some of you are still typing, I know. But on the next line, type the same thing, but instead of a plus sign in the middle, put a minus sign in the middle. Again, because the quadratic formula tells us plus or minus. So instead of this plus sign right here, make that a minus sign, but have the exact same line of code.
Would we be able to do, like, are we trying to figure that out right now?
We're trying to get the roots of this function
Yeah,
automatically.
but we could do that, man. I'm just saying.
Always, yes.
Okay, right.
You can always do it by hand.
5 minutes.
Guys, you never have to do this again once you type it in once. Again, you see how we're typing it in once? You will never ever have to do it again. All you have to do is type in A, B, and C, and you're done. I'll show you this, okay?
Oh, I thought you had to do this every time for every problem.
You never have to do this again. That's the idea of computer programming. You never do it again. Okay? And that would be pointless. You wouldn't do it. It's inefficient, right?
Yeah. Do you have to put display on the second one?
Yes. So again, same commands. Catalog, go to the D, display. I want to display the same thing again. Negative B, but instead of plus, I'm going to put a minus now.
So when someone, let's say I get a calculator, I can just like borrow a friend's calculator and see the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And retype. You can even transfer programs from calculator to calculator. You can write it on yours and put a cable to the other person and send it over.
That's so cool, actually.
Okay?
I know.
How do you get that little number?
This in? Divide.
Is it right?
Got it?
Like it looks like it hasn't changed.
All over parentheses 2a.
30.
Now, the last step is the following. We're kind of done already. But here's what I want to do. Every time I do a problem, I'm going to different A, a different B, and a different C. So I don't want these numbers to stay in the calculator every time. So I need to delete whatever's in there. And here's how we do that. Press second, catalog. Now, go to the D again, and take a look. DELVAR means delete the variable. So it's going to delete the A, B, and C after you use the program automatically. So go down to delvar, hit enter, and then we want to delete variable A. Now, unfortunately, for deleting variables, you can't use the comma command. So you got to hit enter and do this again. So do delvar B, delvar C, delvar D. Again, how do you get the delvar? You press second and catalog. Second, catalog. Go down to D, go down to delvar. I want to delete the variable b now. Hit enter. Do it for C and do it for D also. This is the only one that's kind of inefficient,
After that,
unfortunately.
alpha, B2.
Alpha A and then.
Another down.
Okay, all four of them, guys. All four of them.
You said all four of them?
Because D is a variable also. Remember now?
Oh.
Okay, once you've done that, stop. You're done with the
I'm in
code.
the wrong thing.
You got the first line of code on. Negative b plus the square root of d over 2a. Do that again. Negative b minus square root of d close quote. This will give you two answers. Remember, it's a plus and minus. Now you get the second
I don't know what I'm gonna.
You get used to it. If people see
close right. Done?
they want to think of it.
One. Done?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody in the back have a calculator back there, or you all just kind of chit-chat?
No, we're paying attention. We're back here now. Everything.
But I'm asking if you have a calculator.
Oh, no. In your mind.
In your mind. Okay. Glad you
You
did.
write it
Good?
down.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Go on, how you doing? Almost? Okay. Almost everyone.
Sorry, Liz.
Yeah.
Now, press the following. Press second, then press quit. Get out of this program. Quit is above mode, so press second mode. Alright. Now, we programmed it once. You will never have to program it again for the quadratic formula. Now you just have to enter the numbers in. So, press program. I don't have to go down because mine is called quad form, but whatever yours is, hit enter on it. Whatever your program is called, hit enter on it. Now, press enter one more time. And it should prompt you for A.
Yeah.
Press 5 for A. Hit enter. For B, it was negative 8. Press negative down here again. Negative is down here. 8.
Can you use the subtraction sign?
No, it cannot. Let's be careful. Again, you have to use the negative symbol. Use 2 for C. And then hit enter.
Then put enter.
And hit enter one more time at the end. These two numbers here, look at your answers from the beginning of class. We had 1.29 and 0.31, right? And those are the exact values every time. Okay? So what does this do for us? Two things. We got a lot to do still, guys. We have very little time and a lot to do. The first thing it does for us, it simplifies things. It makes it a lot easier than having to perform the operation every time. The second thing it does, it's an easy way to check. If we actually are using the quadratic formula on our own by hand, you can check your answers. Now, before we go any further, if you get an imaginary answer, remember, if you get the I, it's going to give you an error. Here's how you correct that error. Everybody go into...
Okay.
We're good. Everybody go into mode. Okay, go into mode. On here, you're going to see that real is probably highlighted for you.
Yeah.
Go down to real, go over to A plus BI and highlight that instead. Okay, now, in addition, In addition to that, again, this is only for when you have an imaginary answer, really, you're gonna need this. In addition, this float and these numbers tells you how many decimal spots you're gonna have. If you leave it on float and you have an imaginary answer, it's gonna show all the decimal spots and it won't show the I. So it confuses people. So if you're doing this with imaginary answers, change float to like 5 or something. So it only gives you 5 decimal spots. Okay? Now, if we did an example with imaginary roots, and I'll give you an example. If we run the program one more time, and let's say instead we had -3, 6, whoops. -3, 6, and -5. Let's say this was our problem. Now, see, our answers have I's next to them. If we left it on float, all these decimals would have been displayed and they don't show the I there. Again, we changed float to 5 to show that we're only going to have 5 decimal spots for each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the I there. Okay, so you can get imaginary answers, and notice they are conjugates of one another again. Now, until we continue listening to announcements, what I want to do is the following.
Good afternoon, may I have your